Welcome to the Rebuts, where everyday opinions are rebutted, and you, the listener, decide the winner.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Christian Thomas Lenzer, and today I'm joined by none other than
Craig Kirchgessner.
and together we are
The Rebuts.
So today, Craig, what are we talking about?
We're talking about unbreakable tennis records.
Yes, so we dove into the internet and dove into our memory banks and decided to pull out what we deem as some of the most untouchable or unbreakable feats known to the game of tennis.
Yeah, we both came up with three ourselves. We chose the three that we think are the most unbreakable. We'd love to hear what you guys think are the most unbreakable. If you guys think that some of ours are breakable or that some others deserve more recognition than we're giving them, well, let us know in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. All right. So without further ado, Craig, let's get right on into it. You start us off. How about
Well,
that?
I'll start us off, but I'm actually going to start us off with a few honorable mentions.
Oh, before we break into things. Huh?
Yeah, a couple of these just I don't think people actually care about / keep track of.
Yeah.
One, my favorite player ever happened to break in recorded history the most rackets ever. My boy Marat Safin.
Mm-hmm.
He had classified that he broke 1,055 rackets.
Holy cats.
One they said in 1999 that was his record breaking year. He broke 40
Or racket breaking.
Yeah, racket breaking year. He broke 48 rackets in match play, which that's just a fun little 2 cents. Another one, this is honorable mention because this one doesn't make our list because it's actually unbreakable now. Because they've had rule changes where there's a tiebreaker like we saw this year at 12 all. There can never be the longest match ever. So that 2010 match between Isner and Mahut that went 70-68 and took 11 hours and 5 minutes can never happen again.
Yeah.
So that one's just honorable mention. And then our boy Vilas winning 134 matches in one calendar year. That seems unbreakable just given a great season by one of the top men or women today. They're looking at about 90 to 100 wins. So 134,
Yeah.
that's not happening again.
You just don't see quality players putting their body through that much strain each and every year. I mean, if you think about it, that is a ton of tournaments. No one would ever think about doing that nowadays. The money, they don't need it. They don't want the glory of breaking that. There's nothing really to it. Plus, you got to save your body for the big events. That's what we see, like the big three doing nowadays. Right?
Yeah, longevity in the big events equals more money and prestige than maxing out one calendar season.
Exactly, and I totally agree. Some of my honorable mentions before we get into it. Nicolas Massou, he was a Chilean tennis player. He won both gold in singles and doubles in the same year at the 2004 Olympics in Athens. In singles, he took down Federer. Or he didn't take them down. He was in the same group, same bracket as Federer, Roddick, Carlos Moya, Marat Safin,
My boy.
as well as that boy down in Texas, Taylor Dent.
Ooh,
What up, dog?
what up?
I know you're listening right now. Thanks for tuning in. Also, I know it's been done. Serena did it one year, but I think on the guy side, you don't see the Williams sisters are very special in terms of their ability to play both singles and doubles. But in men's tennis, you don't really see that. Like the Bryan brothers, none of them would be ever successful in singles play. And Rafa's a pretty good doubles player. He won a gold once in the Olympics, but you don't see them playing both or being successful in both. My second and final honorable mention was Mats Wilander. He won the 82 French Open at age 17, and he didn't just walk through everybody. He beat Lendl in the fourth round, Vitas Gerulaitis in the quarterfinal, Luis Clerc, who was the fourth seed in the semis, and Guillermo Vilas, who you just mentioned, who was the third seed. He beat him in the finals. So.
I think that's also even more unbreakable on the men's side than the women. The women seem to develop a little earlier. The men don't seem to be hitting their prime until 22, 23. So at 17, that one seems pretty safe.
Pretty far-fetched. We saw Coco Gauff win a few rounds in the French at, 15 or whatever?
Yeah.
Or in the few rounds of Wimbledon, excuse me. But, I don't think you'll see Djokovic losing in a final to some 17-year-old.
Yeah, if it happens, that'd be...
especially with how physical tennis is now. But, anyways, with that being said, let's jump into our three final categories our three each
Yeah. So my number 3 on what I deem is one of the most unbreakable records is, it's a little out there. I mean, people might not even know about this, but Andy Murray winning 2 consecutive Olympic gold medals. All right, so he did the first one in the London Olympics in 2012, beating Roger Federer in the final. That's sad because I love my boy Fed, but impressive. He got to do it in his hometown Olympics. That's awesome. And then he went on to do it again in 2016, beating Delpo in Rio.
Ooh.
Okay, this might not sound that impressive, but given the peak of a tennis player's span of existence, they're looking at 12 years max, right?
Yeah.
Which would equal 3 of the Olympic chances in general in your prime. To win 2, to win 2 would just be to tie the record. We're asking people to break the record.
So that's being like peak performance.
So you have to win all 3 times in your prime. And I don't see this record being beaten. Do I see someone tying it? Sure. I think someone could tie it if they put a lot of emphasis in the Olympics. That's another factor. The reason I don't think this will be broken is because, let's be honest, they're getting paid millions of dollars to win the U.S. Open, Australia, the big ones. I don't know. I didn't do enough research on it. I don't know how much they're making by winning, besides the prestige of winning it for your country, which I would value a ton.
Yeah.
But financially, it's not as important to a lot of these top players, so we don't see quite the level of engagement in the Olympics that we do in some other ones.
Yeah, and I really don't think it's worth, there's no money to be earned. It's U.S. Olympic Committee currently gives winners $37,000 for winning a gold.
That's cool because you win almost $2 million for winning the U.S.
Yeah, right.
A little bit different there.
Exactly.
So that in my mind might be tied one day. Doubt that it'll ever be surpassed.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good first one, Craig, to get us going. I think my first one, which mine are kind of in order. It's hard to determine what's like the hierarchy, I guess. My first greatest feat that I think is going to be really difficult to ever overcome is just Nadal's sheer success at the French Open. I mean, 93-2, which equates to a 97.9 winning percentage at one single tournament. And mind you, the most physically demanding tennis tournament in the grand scheme of things. 5 sets on clay. I mean, it's insane. For somebody to win 12, championships
and counting.
Yeah, exactly.
He might get to 15.
He honestly could. I mean, the sheer domination on one single service, and in particular one single event, is unrivaled. Really.
Yeah. I do think the fact that, as we've talked about before, maybe not on air, but we'll cover it eventually, is there's always been people coming up behind the great players. I mean, you think about Jimmy Connors, he had a chance to be unbelievably great, and then he ran into Borg, who was 4 years younger, McEnroe 6, Lindell 7. I mean, Fed had a chance to be all-time unbelievably numbered records, but then he runs into Nadal 5 years younger, Djokovic 6 years younger, Murray 6 years younger. For Nadal to win 3-4 more French, we don't know who's coming up, because it's almost like we've skipped a generation and now we're on to Medvedev and we're hoping he's the next great one.
Yeah, right?
We don't know who. I mean, Team does look awfully good on clay.
He does.
Do you trust him? I'm taking Nadal. You know where my money's going.
Yeah, I'll give Team 2 years before he wins a French. When Nadal's kind of, you'd think coming down from his glory days, and he's getting to this peak physical level. But yeah, we'll find out. We'll see. But yeah, that Medvedev guy, he can play.
He looks good.
Yeah.
He looks good.
All right, you're number 2, Craig.
All right, my number 2 most unbeatable record that is technically beatable is Federer getting to 18 of 19 major finals from 2005 to 2010. This one, in my mind, is just... It's unreal. The only time that he did not get to the finals was in 2008 when Djokovic beat him before he went on to beat my boy Tsonga. I know I got a lot of boys out there, but I do like Tsonga as well. He's got a fun game.
But like a tight end.
Yeah, he's thick. Another one though. What did I say? 18 of 19. That is a stretch right there. That's a 5-year period where the level of consistency is that's gonna be hard to beat.
I mean, that's why he's the GOAT, dude.
Yeah, he is the GOAT.
Wait, man.
Based
off our first episode.
Everybody knows what's right. There's not a whole lot to back this up. The best thing that Djokovic had was he made 6 out of 7. He would have had to do 3 straight years to tie him.
Yeah. Like,
we think of excellent years, and then we think of this 5-year stretch where he made the finals. I've said it 3 times now, 18 out of 19.
Yeah.
I just don't see that happening. In that span, he also got to 23 quarters in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Or to semis in a row, sorry. Which is, that's Soderling took him out. That's impressive. 23 in a row. I think that one's possibly more beatable than getting to 18 of 19 finals. I just don't see it happening. There's so many big hitters right now that I do think, even though the big 3 keep capitalizing on winning them, I do think that it's easier to get upset throughout the course of a tournament because one big hitter gets hot. And so I don't really see someone having this level of consistency over a 5-year span.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And we saw that like last year with Khachanov or with Thiem at the U.S. Open, almost beating Nadal. I mean, like, it's situations like that where these guys can get hot all of a sudden. Or Kyrgios, when all of a sudden he ramps up his abilities during one of the big matches.
Stays focused for a match.
Yeah, right?
You don't want to play him as he's focused. That's a joke.
Seriously, that guy can play. But yeah, I like that point, Craig. My second one that I'm going to dive into here is Martina Hingis at the 1993 Junior French Open. She won the title at age 12. So for all you listeners that don't quite know what a junior Grand Slam is, it's like any non-professional player up until the age of 17. And nowadays, a lot of the time, you'll see pros going pro at 15, 16. But majority of the tournaments end with 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds coming out atop. So a 12-year-old. I mean, think about a 12-year-old girl.
And we were playing tennis at 12, but we weren't winning anything at 12.
I mean, what is that, like 6th, 7th grade?
Yeah.
Imagine a 6th grader.
If I lost to a 6th grader right now, I'd be so mad.
I would quit. I would probably throw away every single racket that I ever had. Yeah. But looking at the physicality of a 12-year-old playing up against that of a 16, 17-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially on the girl side where they develop early, so a 16, 17-year-old girl is in almost her prime. Their prime's just earlier. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, yeah, it could... I don't see that happening again.
No.
That is remarkable.
And that jump from 12 to 13 is huge because we've seen it done at Jennifer Capriati won at 13 and 89 on the French, and Coco Gauff was runner-up in 2017 at the U.S. Open when she was 13. But I don't know, that 12 to 13 is way different than 12, and also being runner-up at 13 is way different than winning at 12.
Yeah.
So I think that is insane. When I saw that, my eyes popped out of my head.
Yeah, that'll be tough. I don't see that one happening.
Nope.
All right, my last one and most unbreakable record. It took place in 1988. This wonderful woman won all 4 Grand Slams and the gold medal. Steffi Graf taking home the Golden Slam.
Ooh, that is a big one.
The Golden Slam, it didn't just happen by beating some no-namers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she beat Chris Evert at the Australian. She beat Martina Navratilova at Wimbledon. Like, these are some big-time names she's whooping up on.
Yeah.
And she won the Golden Slam. So not only is this unbreakable because you can't even do it every year because the Olympics are every 4, you'd have to do it twice to break this Golden Slam record. Could it be tied?
You can tie it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course you can tie it. Once again, though, the odds of you doing that are slim because winning 4 is
insane,
relatively impossible.
Doing it in an Olympic year.
Yeah, the statistics are already small enough to win all 4. Throw that to every 4 years, and then also winning the Olympic on top.
Whew,
that is not happening. No, so to do it twice. Get out of here.
Game over.
Yeah, so that, in my opinion, is the most unbreakable record. Yeah. What do you got for yours?
Well, I think, yes, it could possibly be broken. yes, there's a tiniest possibility it could be broken, but it's something that hasn't been done, and I've seen people try. They've gotten close, but they haven't broken it. That is Bjorn Borg only dropping 32 games in a Grand Slam.
Wow.
I mean,
The math on that's crazy.
yeah, it boils down to 1.5 games allowed per set, especially given today's day and age where there's big servers and there's guys who can hold easier than ever with speed.
Yeah, I mean the racket
placement.
technology, the string technology, they're putting, and just the size of these guys these days. I mean,
Yeah.
you think if he just runs into an Isner, can't break it.
Boom.
Even,
That's like
even Rafa playing Isner at the French, that's going to be a tough thing because you got to think Isner's at least getting 3 games a set, which is going to make those other numbers have to be so low to even come close.
exactly.
To this.
And we've seen Rafa try to do it, who is, mind you, the most dominant player on one single surface and one single tournament of all time. We covered that earlier. He's gotten 35, which was arguably his best French Open ever. And 4 games to break that record, yeah, he could have gotten them, potentially. But you know what? He didn't. And I really don't see another Rafael Nadal coming around at the French Open anytime soon to try to break this record. That is honestly one of the biggest stats and biggest feats I've ever seen.
I do think it has to happen at the French Open because the serves are so big on the hard courts and grass. It's just a little easier to hold on those surfaces. Mm-hmm. So for this to happen, I do think, yes, it's going to have to be on clay. But man, oh man, you're right. I don't see a Rafa coming around, and he got close, but close. He's still 10% away.
Exactly. The Iceman, Bjorn Borg, though, man, he said, "What's up?" Rolled that tournament.
Rolled it.
But speaking of rolled out, we're done here. Craig, we dropped our list, guys. Let us know down in the comment section below what you think. If you agree with us, if you disagree, like Craig said earlier, we'd love to hear from you. We want some engagement, not just Craig Kirchgessner or Christian Lenzer dropping comments in the sections below.
We do like the engagement, and as you know, if you fired us, we'll fire back. So let us know what you think, and hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Yep. So until next time, guys. Peace.